Zandvoort to Spa, with fire and flair, full throttle we race in the open air. Through Nordschleife's curves, legends are made. At Zolder we pray a lot. From Laguna to Silverstone, bold and pure, with every mile conquered our spirit endures. Oh, through each race, we're here for the thrill. With every gear shift, we're ready to kill. From Zolder to Daytona, the speed's in our veins. No turning back, the dream's ours to claim. Singapore glows as the night race ignites. Red Bull rings darkness alive with the lights. We drive through the rain in rhythm and sound, with the heart of the race going round after round. Oh, through each race, we're here for the thrill. With every gear shift, we're ready to kill. From Zolder to Daytona, the speed's in our veins. No turning back, the dream's ours to claim. Silverstone speed, Laguna's tight, turns in every sharp bend. Its glory we earn. Daytona calls, where champions compete. For the victory and triumph, we'll never retreat. Oh, through each race, we're here for the thrill. With every gear shift, we're ready to kill. From Zolder to Daytona, the speed's in our veins. No turning back, the dream's ours to claim. Engines cool down and the memories unfold. We stand proud, fearless and bold, chasing dreams from track to track, with the promise that we'll always come back.
All right, and here we are. It took a while, and well, it is going to be 13 minutes here of qualifying left at the Hungaroring. Some familiar names here in the server. We've got 10 drivers currently, but I'm sure that will increase as the session comes along because we have started a little bit later than we were supposed to. This is Dan Grunwald. Everybody's still on their out lap, of course, here, so it's going to be a while until this is the first time to fly in. Grunwald, always a driver to perform at least decently well. Indeed, we have just got an 11th driver joining us. That's Rail joining in. Oh, a little bit of a lag spike there, but I hope that is at least not a server-sided issue, because otherwise we're going to be in for a long one. I think we just should about be all right. That's Knudsen, the driver we are aboard with. Apparently he's trying to set a reference lap for himself here. That's what the majority of the drivers are doing. And of course, I'd like to welcome you. My name is Ricky. It's a pleasure to be here during the broadcast. And Dutch United Racing here. Already getting closer to the end of the season, really. It's gone rather quick here. We've still got around at Misano left. And then we're going to be there with a little bit of a break until the 8th of January. When we're going to be back for the final round of the season already. So it's gone rather quick. Obviously, I joined in halfway through this season, but it's fun to see a lot of these drivers come out there and do what they're supposed to do, right? Just joining us for this awesome project. Now, this is Daniel van Dorsten representing the Dutch United Racing team colors in his DUR GT Gundam racing car. It's one of the two Porsches that we have on the grid. And in this grid we have a kind of equal amount of cars everywhere. I mean, we've got two Porsches, two Ferraris, two BMWs, two of the Lexuses, and this is Jesper from Ringston, a name that I actually recognize from another racing league, if I recall correctly. I'm not entirely sure about it, but it does ring a bell. So I want to say he was in the either FRL or the Amigos Racing League before this, because it just seems so awfully similar, funnily enough. But I'm sure that when I get chatting to him eventually, then we'll find out if I'm indeed on the right track there or if I'm completely off. So yeah, not so sure about that one, but it's good to see him here. For now, qualifying, just doing whatever they're supposed to. And I was just gonna double check actually. Yeah, he was in the Amigos Racing League before, and also Formula Racing League, so I was right there. So it's good to see him back. It's been a while since I've seen him race, and yeah, also a friend of mine, funnily enough. Yeah, small world as it turns out. That is quite a dive there. It's Kevin Minderhout going through his faster lap. The current reference lap is a 1:45.567 by Knudsen. So far the fastest time out there. This is Perseus and Zeldor. We are aboard with, or Tel Zendor, excuse me. Yeah, Sol McLaren on the grid. Used to be one of the biggest meta cars in Assetto Corsa Competizione before. Now it's mainly just a car that you see a little bit less. And yeah, seems to be doing a good job at keeping it on the track so far. And still yet to set a reference lap. Only 5 drivers have posted the lap, and that's been the fastest overall, as I mentioned before. And the gap behind that is quite large currently, about 1.5 seconds. It's Minderhout who just set in his lap. Now we're seeing the fast laps come out there, because before it was Gunvald found himself over in P2, but he was actually 3 seconds off the pace of the current provisional pole sitter So yeah, that actually is something that you don't get to see very often. Now, obviously, drivers are now just sending in their safe laps, so we are going to see those drivers improve. Knutsen's currently looking to set a good lap in, and this is Tommy Chishao, who is currently finding himself in P2 in the Lexus, a car that has been a staple in GT3 racing. It's a car that's been on the grid for ages and ages, and to me, still one of the more beautiful cars out there. I very much enjoyed this one, seeing it for the first time IRL. I think it was at the GT World Challenge in 2022, if I recall correctly, in Hockenheim, and also later seeing it at Spa during the World Endurance Championship, obviously with only one team running, the Lexus. Now, Toyota have announced a new project into GT racing, and it's the GT3 car that they've announced, the Toyota GR. Obviously, Gazoo Racing being their brand name, they have just released a car that's actually just called the Toyota GR, and that's a GT3 purebred. We're also seeing a replacement for the Lamborghini, which isn't on the grid today. And that will be a car that I will miss, the current Lamborghini, because that car will be replaced by a car that doesn't have that same iconic sound that the Lambo had, of course. Yeah, they announced a new one, but the GT3 Evo 2, obviously being a V10, was such a spectacular. And now they have announced the Lamborghini, I must say this correctly, Temerario GT3, which is a twin-turbo V8. Unfortunately, it does not quite sound as good, at least on paper, and everyone. Although I must admit, I think it is a very, very pretty car, and I can't wait to see this in some of the games. Now, Assetto Corsa Competizione, they won't get that because they're only going to get a livery update for the current season, and that's all that they plan on adding when it comes to the updates regarding Assetto Corsa Competizione. This is Michael Voigt. Currently, P9 has set a reference lap. In fact, it's the slowest drivers of all the drivers that have set reference laps, and this is not going to do him any better. Having a little bit of a spin for sure is not going to make that position any easier, but that's what happens. Give him in there out. Currently P4. Be doing well this race. Currently just about ahead of Ringston. We do see some drivers being swapped around. Kevin Minderhout is able to go third fastest. He was just knocked down and then immediately goes up as he finishes his lap on a nice little delta here. So some good improvements coming out from him. Another driver is looking to do some good improvements right now is Holm, who's about to cross that finish line in a couple seconds. He's about to shave off 6/10 of a second, and that actually will push him right up there to P3. And that will push Kevin Minderhout, the driver we're currently aboard with, down to the 4th position. So that is a great look, I need to admit, for Kevin Minderhout. Michael Voigt in the P10, currently second slowest. Everyone's now at least set a lap in. Gap between fastest and slowest drivers is quite big, as you might imagine. However, most of the time that's going to be just alright. It is 4 minutes left of qualifying here before we're going to get ready for the race to start about 5 or 10 minutes after the qualifying session. This is Dan Grunfeld we're aboard with. one of the two Lexus, or Lexi, I guess I could say it as well. Not exactly sure how it's pronounced. 3 minutes left to go. We see the McLaren of Telzender going off. And that is P10 currently in a validated lap. Most likely not going anywhere this time. And that's a little bit rough. I do need to admit that. But that is just how it goes. And there's not much that could be done about that. To go again a little bit later. This is Daniel van Dorsten. We're aboard with P7 currently. I hope to be seeing some improvements. It would be very nice for them if they're able to pull it off. But, only time will tell. See a BMW going wide, and Daniel van Dorsten actually had to compromise his line a little bit here. Currently waiting to see what can happen. Time, of course, is of the essence here, and just need to keep waiting for now. Precious and Telzender are still trying to do his thing. Precious Telzender trying to do his thing. The G-Rail we're aboard with. Time almost up. That's not going to be doing it any favors. I think that will just be the end of that one then, unfortunately, this time around. Time is now over, so drivers are going to get to their laps. Knudsen still in P1. Well, it's gonna be Knudsen then looking to take provisional pole here. Although Wojciechowski's pretty close, they've all come in, so it's gonna be Knudsen, Wojciechowski, Holm, Minderhout, Schau, and then Dunvald right behind that at P6. He could still improve. He's currently looking to shave off about a 1/10 of a second, which wouldn't put him anywhere. He'd still be about a second off the driver ahead of him. Then we have Telzender in a last-ditch attempt to try and beat this, but it's probably not going to matter. Ladies and gentlemen, we're off into a little bit of a break, and we're going to be back as soon as the race is going to start. All right, and here we are. Is going to be a 1 hour in total. So quite a long way to go. For these 11 drivers, it's just going to be a matter of staying calm, really. That's what it's going to be all about, and that's not going to be an easy task, and I knew it too. But let's see what they can do then. Or at least going to get underway. And it obviously took a while. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this one goes. It's not an easy task by any means. It's a difficult track. But it's going to be Dennis Knudsen here leading the way. So Wojciechowski over in the Porsche P2. And well, we are about to go live here. There it is, the lights are green, the time is underway. It's going to be Dennis Knudsen here, currently leading the way through. The green flags out. Where are we going to see the move? So that's quite aggressive. There's a little bit of contact between, I believe that was the Mustang, one of the Ferraris, I think it was. See a couple rejoins here. We see Dan Holm losing a little bit of ground to the Porsche already. He's got to make sure he doesn't go too wide, and he's overshot it a little bit, but he's able to recover during the corner. However, that does mean that the Mustang's going to be all over him. So the two Mustangs battling it out, and there they are side by side. Got to make sure to leave each other space. He's going to squeeze him a little bit towards the outside. He's going to cross quite aggressively, and there's no way you can stay on the track here if you are Minderhout. There's the mistake. There's the sent down the inside. This is a beautiful battle, and by the looks of it, oh, there's got to be made. They're both going to be sent into the wall, and I think Tommy Shaw is going to be collected in that. Yes, that is the case, but he's able to rejoin. Not much he could have done otherwise. Kevin Minderhout was getting involved there in that battle. Not looking great. We've got a replay coming up soon as well. And that's the first moment they go side by side. A little bit of contact, but all is okay. They follow the corner. And what did the green Mustang just do? That was weird. That never should have happened. So that's a little bit unfortunate. We see Kevin Minderhout going a little bit wider there too. We see Precious Telzenders up a couple spots here, mainly just by keeping it on the road. Wojciechowski leads, Knudsen follows. A little bit of contact there, and the Porsche and the McLaren are both going to go into the wall. Jesper for instance, free to return. What is this messy race? These are all incidents that we could have prevented too. That's the worst part of it. For Ringston, however, able to do well, trying to challenge that BMW. Knows he's quicker on pace alone, but you still gotta try and see if you can get by here. Sending it wide, no space there. Your close gaps way too big right now. Currently, everyone already kind of spread out apart here. Yes, but for instance, still trying to get by if he can. Just look at how much they're cutting off that corner too. The curb's not really impactful this time around there. Now we see the BMW actually making up a little bit of ground, but it's going to come down to the exit. And yeah, there's no way to get and dive in there. Although Michael Voigt needs to look in his mirrors consistently. So they're pretty close, and Michael knows that whenever he stops looking in the mirrors for just a second, or when he has his hands up in the air, that there's going to be a dive down the inside somewhere by the Dane. Look at this, he's all over him. He's so close to pulling it side by side all the time, and there I think he's going to try and make a move on. Yes, there he is, and the Ferrari goes ahead, makes him that spot. Jesper for Ringston moving up to P6 here, and now the BMW's task is to chase. Although he might just try and see if he can get back down the inside here. Kevin Minderhout so far gone. Had to do some repairs, I think. And obviously that incident will also be looked at by our stewarding team. Yeah, a rough start here. Oh, certainly. Just look at how far he is away. Yeah, I mean, just look at how far he's down already. We see that Michael Voigt no longer is chasing Jesper Fringston. He is still chasing, but he doesn't have the pace. We see the McLaren now coming in, trying to get closer if possible. Michael Voigt still looking all alright. I mean, the line seems solid here. There's maybe a sent down the inside. It's looking like it. Although he's overshot it a little bit and rejoining that track. I think they were just about able to avoid each other. G-Shell still in a solid position here. P3. P2. Solid, although I don't know how accurate that is. I mean, Mrzeszowski is well ahead of Knudsen, but for some reason he wasn't showing as the race leader before now. He is, and the Porsche has just been good all the way around. There's just a very little space here trying to do anything. You just got to keep up the lap times, and that's exactly what the current race leader is doing. Precious Stilzenders made his way past Voigt by the looks of it. That's nice for him, and he seems to be also getting up to pace a little bit more, which he has struggled with during qualifying. He's kind of picked it up now, which is good to see. Precious tells Endor. From Ukraine, the only one brave enough to bring up the McLaren. You know, there's a couple cars that I obviously missed on the grid. Like I've said before, I would have loved to see in the Lamborghini. Another car which I thoroughly enjoy is the Bentley, but obviously that's not a very meta car at the moment, so we're not going to be seeing that car very often, I can guarantee you that. G-Rail trying to see what he can do. We do see that some of these drivers here towards the back are finding each other. Voigt seems to be lacking pace entirely, though Minderhout's luckily still a very far driver for now, so we should be worried about the top 10, but maybe not about the top 11. This is Dan Holm we're aboard with. So overall seems good. Flamesy coming out of the exhausts of the Mustang, but we're just not gonna see any move on. I mean, it's just so far alone. Pushing all the way through here, no man's land. As goes for the majority of the drivers. Sure, we've got some medals towards the back here. For example, Zelzender's pretty close right now in P6. He's made a little bit of a comeback drive happen so far. Brushes still Zendor. Still P6 right now. Don't know what he's got up his sleeve. Trying to defend here against Van Dorsten in the Porsche. There they are side by side through the main straight. Long way to go. It's going to be about who's able to go deepest on the brakes, and by the looks of it, it's going to be the McLaren. He has plenty of time to get the car slowed. Exit was fine, I think, although the Porsche had a little bit of a better exit. There's just no way to clean that gap as of now. I don't know whether we have an update from our stewards or not. Especially interested, of course, in the incident that we had at the beginning, but I haven't seen any updates yet. Haven't seen any penalties being handed out here. We are obviously just only 10 minutes in, so that might come from time to time. Jesper van Ringston still doing his thing out there. Do still have a battle between Voigt and Rail behind. Jesper seems to have solid lines through here, but is really in a position to fight with anyone. Looks of it, the admins are looking at it. Oh, what was that incident there? I'm not entirely sure. We see Tenzada going through. Oh, there's going to be contact here. And is he able to keep it on the road? Yes, he is. The Porsche waited for him. He didn't need to. And there it is. It is going to be the McLaren now in front. Yet again, trying to defend his position. I mean, that was a P6. Is a good result for him, especially considering how he was doing during the qualifying sessions, of course. V3 is what it currently stands on. Currently, there's no way to get out of there. Just gotta nail the apexes. This is Tommy G. Shao in P3. It's just a matter of bringing it home for now. No, Tomichi Shao just needs to do his own thing. Currently, the gap between the leader and the driver in second is about 4 seconds. There's plenty for now. Daniel van Dorsten, 7, trying to do his thing, and well, we see the biggest winner currently is Zelzender still is up 4 positions from the start. Minderhout is obviously the driver that has dropped down the furthest, and he's still got a very long way to go. And he knows that too. Weirdly enough, actually the one that holds the fastest speed trap as it stands right now. 247. Now, Cap's still doing what they're supposed to. It is Dan Grunwald here we're aboard with. Long way to go to catch up. Profiled well, quite far behind the car ahead of him. It's the 69 of Voigt. Well, 45 minutes left here. Yeah, you know, currently just a race where everyone's kind of driving far away from each other, unfortunately. You know, a long way to go still during this race, but it's almost a little bit demotivating when you're so far apart from the other drivers. Makes it kind of difficult to keep your energy up high. You know, I must say here, all the drivers are keeping good composure, despite it being a little bit of a lackluster race. And we do still have the number 1 and 2 not really scrapping about, but kind of close to each other in a way. So that obviously helps. Gotta keep at it. Xiao is still trying to get into the mix, trying to get back into things, but he also knows that home is not incredibly far away. We're still waiting, of course, to see the action from a little bit further into the race. It's still a long way to go here for all of these drivers. They know that anything can happen. Drivers are going to have to come in, they're going to have to pit, they're going to have to try and be creative with it at times. That's not easy. Well, we're about to cross that 40-minute mark. Yeah. We're waiting for that moment here for the drivers in front to catch each other. That would really shake up things. Well, Kevin Minderhout still waiting to catch up here. Has been gaining rather consistently, but it just hasn't really been enough, to say the least.
As engines cool down and the memories unfold, we stand proud, fearless and bold, chasing dreams from track to track, with the promise that we'll always come back.
And still no big penalties being handed out by the looks of things. We're waiting for an update here, but it's a one-man stewarding team, and obviously having live stewarding is quite an intensive job here. Also not something that we see in every league, but I'm always a big fan of it. Really try and change things up and add some more pace to things and see where that leads. Yeah. Dan Holm here just trying to do its thing. And funnily enough, we are, by definition, a Dutch league, but in reality, we find ourselves having plenty of Danish drivers on the server. Interestingly, not exactly what it is, but I think most of them signed up as a little bit of a team or, you know, a little bit of a friend group and therefore are overrepresented. But I don't mind it. They always make for some good racing, and it seems also that the skill levels that we have are plenty fun to make for some competitive racing, which of course is what we're all here for at the end of the day. According to the stewards, some have been noted, but we can't give the penalties out yet due to a little bit of a, I don't know if it's an error or a mistake, but something wrong in the stewarding system that we're using. So that's gonna be looked at, I'm certain. Now, not much that we could do about it. But yeah. 37 minutes to go here. We do see that the 66 is pretty close up to the 365. That's Holman von Ringston. Yeah, still Tomichi Shout in a solid P2, but look at just the gap now, right, to the 25. Just seems to have more pace. Unfortunately for him, that is. This is a Giro we're aboard with. He's gone up compared to qualifying here. Yeah, how are things looking then? I wonder myself. Obviously, in the overall standings, we're going to see a huge shakeup here. We did see disqualification, well, for a race or just a penalty ended out. Someone's actually decided to leave the league, unfortunately, because of it. That's a shame. But that is what can happen. That's all part of racing at the end of the day. Now, Gunvalt's in a position where Minderhout, who has actually made up some spots, it's mainly Voigt who's lost the pace along the way. So you are seeing some change-ups. Well, almost halfway through the race, we are going to have to see some drivers come into the pits eventually. So far, no movement on that part. I'm sure that that will come along the way here.
The finish line is drawing near, but in this moment we have no fear. Through the ice we carve our way, racing faster with each holiday.
Yeah. Here we see Kevin Minderhout getting close to Gunvald now. Getting by is by no means an easy task, and drivers, they know that. Need to try and stay at it while you can. And hold still P4 for now. And we do have a stop and go, 30 seconds, handed out to Voigt, as if things couldn't have been going any worse for him. Fortunately. We are getting to that halfway point. There's still at least a positive thing here, or at least something that I am very happy with, is the fact that everyone's still driving. That's no guarantee at this point. There is, well, Michael Voigt so far behind. Of course, this is not doing him any favors. Yeah, that's fine. That's not a. It's not a manual, of course. It is an automatic penalty handed out here. And well, Danholm now under pressure from Jesper van Ringsen, wants to try and see if P4 is on the cards. Very well could be here at the Hungaroring. We'll see quite a technical track here. And so for Danholm has managed to hold on, but also knows that he's a little bit slower on paper at least. So have to keep going at it, of course. Yeah, it's a little bit unorthodox. We do see Holm coming into the pits now to serve it. Jesper Ringson's going to try and stay out, see where that brings him. It might just all fall apart when the lap times actually come in here. Obviously, fuel and other things now starting to become a big part of this battle. And yeah, Tommy G shout. Just trying to make the most out of this really in a not so easy position. At least not by any means an easy position. Yeah, it's G-Rail. We are still behind P10. What is there to show him? Marszalski's been in the lead for more than half an hour at this point, essentially. I only say that it's beyond impressive what we're seeing here. G-Rail looking to come back in whenever they have the opportunity to. Well, Daniel van Dorsten here, P5. I wonder what there's in it. TJ Shao and Van Ringston both in the pits right now. Yeah, way too close for comfort, at least. I think it's safe to say. Daniel van Dorsten is also going to come in. He's on the very outside line of the pit entry there. Don't know whether that was intentional or by accident, but it looked a little bit weird, I must admit. This is Gunwald P7 right now. We're still overtaking Van Dorsten, moves into the pits. Doesn't always mean everything, but does give you an idea of how things go overall, I think, always. We're still waiting to see what happens here. Question is still just how do you post this up here? Michael Voigt has at least cleared this penalty, but it's meant that he had to go even further away, unfortunately for him. It's a messy, sloppy race from him, something that he's not going to be very satisfied with at the minimum. All right, penalties are on their way. So we gotta look out for those. Seeing whatever there is left into those. Yeah, we do see our first 5-second penalties here to Van Dorsten. There we 66 getting a drive through for a collision. That's always a rough thing here, but on one side I'm very glad that they're being handed out, but on one hand I'm also just really not, because it makes things difficult. Obviously everyone's settled in and now that's going to get shaken up, but it does mean it's going to get all the more exciting here. Holm is going to have to fall back a little bit here after the drive-through. The gap behind for him is currently about 3 seconds. Minderhout was on a massive push, and he's going to be getting another position. Considering where he came from, it's very, very good. Yeah, G-Rail still just trying to do his thing. 10. Sorry, for the number 10 in P10. I'm sorry, the number 88 in P10. I need to look at the right statistics when I say things like that. Just trying to do his thing, but still a long way to go to try and get back whenever possible, really. Still trying to go at it strongly. And, well, by the looks of things, 20 minutes to go. Michael Voigt here. Well, we still got that penalty to clear. 20 minutes here to see the other drivers come in, so just to see when they go. Now, Kevin Minderhout is bound to move up to P5. I think a great result considering the circumstances. It's going to be difficult for him to move up to P4 later on, but as Daniel Holm comes in and serves his drive-through penalty, curious to see where Gunfeldt ends up. He's going to go by here, I think. Indeed should, as Holm is still stuck in the pits there. So moving up to P6 nicely. Van Dorsten also coming through. I believe that is on the side. No, it is... No, it's the 88 of Rail that actually went through, but obviously not on the same lap, so that doesn't really get him anywhere. Holm loses the 2 positions off it here. It's not the end of the day. We'll try and figure this out. Yeah, Van Dorsten is still needing to serve that penalty. The thing is, though, I don't know if he's going to be coming back into the pits. Otherwise, it's just going to be added up to his total race time. Van Dorsten is currently 35 seconds behind Holm, but 16 seconds clear of Telzender, who could actually try and see if he could push off it here. Don't know what that's going to bring him, though, in the long run. Knudsen still in the lead right now, which Schalski is behind. About 15 minutes to go here. Holm is in P7 after having to settle in. It's a little bit rough. Some things might be around later on. It is going to be Knudsen still leading all the way through this for Szaszkowski in P2. Difference is that Knudsen is yet to come in. If he's planning to come in at all, the gap's currently about 40 seconds though, with Knudsen being slightly faster on his fastest laps here. Minderhout's having a little bit of a moment, I think. No, it's recovered. Okay, never mind. That's just my telemetry not having a great time. And as I speak, Knudsen's going to come in. Now, most likely, he's going to stay on the same set of tires. They should be good for an hour at the minimum. So that should help. Just got to see where that brings him all along here. Michael Voigt in P11. Representing Team WRT as it goes, and overall seems good. 11's what it stands on right now. 15 minutes left on the clock here. Knudsen in towards the pit, but we got to keep an eye out on what the differences are going to be. Wojciechowski's at least ahead already here, but Knudsen is coming out of that pit, so that is going to help. And the gap is actually only 2 seconds here. Now, Knudsen's tires will have cooled down a little bit, but he hasn't been standing still for very long. Michael Voigt still in last place, a little bit rough here. I would say Minderhout's currently had a great time so far. Making such a comeback drive happen. That's great to see. Michael Voigt still solid along here. Van Dorsten yet to serve his pit stop. Interestingly enough, it seems like Tilzender's not able to get closer. Actually lost quite a bit of time there compared to Van Dorsten, so should say bye-bye to the position, whereas Knudsen's still trying to chase Wojciechowski in for the win. Gunveld's overtaken Minderhout now, but... we have a replay of that, but it looks fit. It's gonna be the overtake. Let's see what happens. Between the two, there is a little bit of contact and just pushed out wide. Both drivers go off here. Yeah, that's pretty rough there. The Mustang joins out ahead. Early Minderhout is still ahead of Gunveld, but obviously that will be looked at here. A little bit of a lag spike coming in through the server. That is also just what happens right from time to time. It's no big deal. A little bit sketchy through the corner. Very happy with how that turned out, I think. And at least we have a battle on our hands here. Currently, as it stands right now on track, it is Mustang ahead. And the Mustang's always a little bit of a weird one, because it actually used to have a BMW M4 GT3. Well, they were using the BMW's aerodynamic model. And Gunveld still chasing. Anything can happen. Minutes here left to go on the clock here. I wonder how everything will be looking here. So little time left. Wojciechowski still trying to get away here. Knudsen. Gaps remaining stable. Minderhout is currently about 2 seconds ahead of Gunveld. And then behind Gunveld we have Holm on 6 seconds, who has obviously cleared his penalty. And therefore, well, has proven that he has the better pace, but still needs to try and get his way back in if he can. Well, so far no big changes here, but if it stays like this, I think most drivers will be very happy for Ringston to go up to P4. For the people that actually were interested in it, I actually did a project for the Dutch Army recently, commentating their esports event live from the studio in Gouda, the Netherlands. Very fun. And, I want to try and see if I could get back in there again. What is in there? Not so sure. I guess we'll figure it out along the way. And Gunvald here in a good position. So we're not going to see any challenges though. They're just so far apart right now, and well, you'd like to think the top 3 are close, but it's actually Rail has just been lapped again. But yeah, the 1 and 2 still about 2 seconds between them. I don't know what else there could be. Yeah. What else is there to say? Van Dorsten's probably not coming in, as we said before. Guess we just kind of see. Yeah, just as time is lowering here, not gonna see many battles here. And that's the downside of only having 11 drivers on the grid, but I'm sure that it's better. The season's still open to join, of course. There are some requirements, but it's not super strict, I gotta say. Yeah, we just gotta see how this goes along the way. We just gotta see what can happen here. Final 5 minutes. Not very likely we're gonna see any overtakes, but I guess we'll have to see. Yeah, just only 2 or 3 laps remaining here, obviously, depending on how quick you can be. I mean, it's going to be 3 laps because most drivers are doing 147-ish right now. Obviously, Voigt is currently the slowest one in and actually has decided to come into the pits here. And, well, what has happened there? Because... did you see the gaps go up a little bit? But yeah, it seems like it's just safe in P2 and isn't really going to contest for that P1 spot right now. Wojciechowski in a dominant fashion is just going to take it by the looks of things. 4 minutes left to go. Yeah, the closest gap right now is over 3 seconds, which is, I think, very telling for how this race has been here. But yeah, that is just part of the racing sometimes. Not much you could do about it. Just gotta see how this goes. This is Nangoon what we're aboard with. P6. Decent mid of the pack position, but also nothing breathtaking here from him. Just gotta see at least another good peak here by Zaiwu. The Counter-Strike stream. Honestly, you know, I'm actually getting around to watching that a little bit. Major obviously still a thing, and I'm still a Counter-Strike customer. But we have another penalty here, 30-second stop and go by World 4. Like, it's just so rough, and that happens. You know, it's just part of the game. Wish it was another way, but unfortunately hasn't been. But that's just how that can go sometimes. Two minutes left to go. So, yeah, not a lot of other laps will be attempted here by the looks of it. Yep, time is almost over. Gumat's actually picked up a drive-through here. Don't know what that's all about. I have no information on that yet, but... oh, it's been by the penalty. So probably... oh, it might have been track limits at the end, and that will be kind of really rough there. So if that's just a way to end it right there, that's... quite rough. Can you imagine that? I don't know what else we could be seeing here. Time's essentially up here, so yeah, quite rough. As time is officially up, I mean, it's just gonna be a matter of time until we see Wojciechowski go over the finish. So I think that is just it for now. Unfortunately, no other things coming around. So that will be just it right now. Time is officially over. Wojciechowski's just going to bring it home, and he's got plenty of gaps. That means that, well, it's going to be a boring end of the race then. But a well-deserved victory here. I think just so dominant. Not much that could be done about it as it stands right now. And that will just be that then. Fortunately, there are no more follow-ups. And yeah, indeed, it's a win for Wojciechowski. Dodson comes in behind, and then Xiao is looking to come in into P3. We gotta just see it out still and wait a little bit longer here. There it is. Tomichi Xiao is gonna take a nice little podium spot there. The final one that was out there for grabs. Should be happy with that, I think. Just like that, the top 3 is decided here, and I'm sure that the stewards will have a say, and there will be some protests maybe, but I think it's kind of seems accurate. And we're gonna have P4 coming in. Jesper from Ringston, driver that I know from a little bit further back. Fun to see. Yeah, it's just been solid all around, really. And there it is. Well, taking it out there, we're gonna see Voigt come in also. Final place, and even a 60-second extra penalty just for good measure. Yeah, from Ringston takes P4. Minderhout is gonna take P5 at the end of the day. Massive comeback drive. We have Holm in P6, and we have Gunvald, Van Dorsten, Tel Zendor, Rail, and Voigt. So yeah, very fun. A good result by the end of it. Next week, of course, we're going to be back, but first we need to wait for our official standing screen, which is gonna be given out in just a moment here. So we're gonna see if there are any changes, but it's not looking very likely. It's probably just as we expected it all the way through. And yeah, you know, some good comebacks being made there in the beginning, but in the end, that's what it settles. And well, the standings, as determined by the game, are going to be coming out. The official results will be posted later. That's got to do with the fact that there are some incidents that will still have to be looked at, but it is Wojciechowski in P1, followed by Knudsen and Xiao in their top 3. Jesper Vrings with a solid P4, a massive comeback drive for Minderhout to finish P5. Then we have Holm, Gunvald, Van Dorsten, Tel Zendor, Rail, and Voigt in last position, but no DNFs this time around. I think it's an achievement by itself, and obviously a massive congratulations to all the drivers for finishing this race. And well, to the people who are joining in from the chat, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Ricky. I hope you guys had an absolute blast. I for sure had. And next week we're going to be back at Misano, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope to see you guys there. And for now, I wish you guys a very pleasant rest of your day.